Welcome back, friends. It's now time for one of my favourite modules because it gets to the heart of online privacy, you. In this video, we'll explore several key ideas. We'll uncover what identity really means and why exposing it makes us vulnerable, explore how context protects our identity in the physical world but fails online, learn how identification invites interpretation and bias, shaping how others and algorithms judge and treat us, and we'll audit your current exposure with a tool I call the relationship map, a way to clearly see your connections to the outside world and the vulnerabilities they invite. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how exposed you already are and where to start locking those doors. But before we dive in, let's tackle the elephant in the room. Why talk about identity in a course on anonymity? Let me explain. If I asked, who are you? You might list your name, age, job, address, marital status, religion, skills, habits, and even political views. These details don't truly define you as a person, but they are how the world recognizes and interacts with you. We call this process identification. Today, accessing almost everything we rely on, both in person and online, requires identification. That means proving who you are by presenting the right combination of these details or traits to whoever guards the resources you want. It's about substituting the statement, I am this person, with I have these characteristics. Think of your bank. Those security questions asking for your mother's maiden name or the city you were born in, these aren't random trivia. They're pieces of your identity puzzle used to estimate whether you are who you say you are. Here's why this matters for privacy and security. Your personal information isn't just descriptive, it's functional. It acts like a set of keys to your life, unlocking access to possessions, services, and opportunities. Every time you reveal a detail, you hand out another copy of a key that opens something valuable. Now, I want to stress this idea as maybe the most important for adopting a privacy mindset. How and where you identify, or more precisely, how others acquire and interpret your identifying data impacts your life like nothing else. So let's see how this works in the real world. Offline, we use intuition to figure out who's who. Subtle cues often shape how much we trust someone. We categorize people constantly, often subconsciously, based on what we know about them. Their accent, foreign or local, their profession, priest or politician. Each trait carries subjective meaning, filtered through our own experience and risk tolerance. Take your local barista, for example. Maybe you forget your wallet once, and he lets you pay next time. He doesn't need your name or ID. He knows you by your regular coffee order and your history as a good customer. He's essentially granting you a line of credit, making a judgment call based on the context. Context is critical to security. We adjust who we are depending on where we are. At work, with friends, or with our kids, we naturally adopt different personas. Each situation calls for different behavior and different identification. You wouldn't show your passport to get on a roller coaster at a fair, but you would to board a plane at an airport. This real-world context has an amazing benefit. It limits how far our personal data travels. Imagine casually mentioning your birthday at a social gathering. You've revealed one of these life keys, but you've done so to a friendly audience, usually people you know won't misuse it. You also know this information is scoped, limited to those within earshot, and unlikely to be repeated. Our instincts usually tell us what to reveal and when. The problem is, gut feelings don't work online. In the digital world, this protective context disappears. Instead of intuition, algorithms try to piece together who you are from countless small facts about you. Each on its own seems harmless, but together they unlock your whole life. Phil Windley, author of Learning Digital Identity, I've got it here, describes this well. He says your online presence isn't defined by one fact, like your name. It's a bundle of sticks. Your birthday, address, shopping habits, club memberships, and more. Do you see the problem? Individually, each stick seems harmless, but together they form a strong branch that can be used to impersonate you. When you casually tag your hometown on Facebook, you're irreversibly giving away one of these sticks, one recognized by your bank as a security question. Here's the challenge. No one tells us how many sticks it takes to form a digital identity, or what ones unlock what. That single detail could give criminals or opportunists everything they need to access your social media, open credit lines, cast votes in your name, blackmail you, or damage your reputation. And remember, digital data is borderless and timeless. What you share once will long outlive you, scattering pieces of you into places and times you never intended. That's why pursuing anonymity isn't a quirky hobby or a paranoid pursuit. It's an act of self-respect. It's about mastering awareness of what you share and how it shapes the way you're seen. But identity has one more truth beyond being descriptive and functional. It's never neutral. It's not just information, it's the foundation of how we're treated and the basis for almost all discrimination. Identification invariably invites judgment. Much of the world's conflict, bias, and exclusion comes from reactions to aspects of identity. National origin, religion, profession, beliefs, it's an inescapable part of human tribalism. Revealing something about yourself opens the door to someone else's filters, fair or not. I've seen this happen. At one workplace, I overheard a hiring manager say, "I won't interview any Indians. I hired one before and it was horrible." His negative experience led him to reject applicants with Indian-sounding names or accents. This crude filter unfairly excluded qualified candidates who had done nothing wrong, and his method wasn't just unethical, it was inaccurate. He also excluded many non-Indians simply because he couldn't tell the difference between similar names. But bias isn't limited to professional settings. Married couples often reject baby names because of personal memories. You've probably heard someone say, "We can't name her Rachel. I knew one in school who bullied me." The name itself isn't the problem. It's that past associations color perception. Similar judgments apply to almost every aspect of identity, your location, hobbies, affiliations. You never know which small detail might trigger someone's assumptions or prejudice, and this is a big deal if they hold power over you. The reality is that identification always carries risks because the traits you present require interpretation. At a bank, in a coffee shop, or on a form, every disclosure not only verifies who you are, but leaves space for someone else's bias to influence the outcome, no matter how legitimate your entitlements. It's like pulling a trigger in an endless game of Russian roulette, hoping to hear another click. This gatekeeping effect is significant when online. Algorithms, like humans, make decisions based on these bundles of sticks, decisions that block or grant access to resources, communities, and opportunities at the speed of light. Privacy is about defending these rights and the integrity of how you live and work. And that, my friends, is how identity shapes perception and power. But before we put this to practical use, let's pause and summarize what we've learned so far. Access to life's valuables is controlled by your identity. Your identity is a blend of personal facts. Mapping which facts unlock which valuables requires 2 steps. Proving who you are, like Jane Smith, we call this authentication, and deciding what you can do, like withdrawing up to $100 from Jane Smith's account. We call this authorization. Both steps can go wrong. An authentication compromise is when illegitimate access is granted. Maybe someone impersonates you using your information. An authorization error happens when legitimate access is denied. Someone or something wrongly restricts you based on a biased interpretation of your bundle of sticks. Both problems, loosely theft and discrimination, can be mitigated by sharing only the minimum necessary information about yourself at all times. This works both online and offline. It's the functional purpose of privacy. Now let's put it into action. As I mentioned, we're going to use a tool called a relationship map. To introduce it, let's watch a short clip from Robert Greene, the author of The 48 Laws of Power. I've actually got it here as well. His work on mastering human interactions highlights how others perceive us and why this exercise matters.
Well, you have to be self-aware. First of all, you have to be aware of the concept. So a lot of young people aren't aware of that concept. They think that what matters is just being themselves. That's just why they get in a lot of trouble. They post things on social media, not realizing that it's going to become public. People are going to read it and they're going to see things about your character they don't really want They don't want to be exposed. And once you're aware of the phenomenon, then you realize that people judge you on appearances. Unfortunately, that's just the way things are. And so you have to manage those appearances. You have to craft them for each particular audience that you're dealing with.
That's the challenge we face, managing appearances for each audience. But how does a relationship map help with this? Well, it serves two purposes: to list all your connections that interpret your identity for access, and to reveal where these accounts overlap and increase vulnerability. Using our analogy, we'll list the doors in our lives and, where possible, change the keys so each only opens one door. That way, if one key is copied, only a single door is at risk, and we know which one. Here's the story of how a data breach I suffered once led me to create this tool. Years ago, I bought a device to store my Bitcoin. The company required the usual personal details: name, mailing address, credit card, and email to complete the order. Later, they suffered a data breach, and my information landed in the hands of scammers. Soon I was getting emails designed to scare me into clicking links and ultimately sending them my Bitcoin. They were convincing, referencing who I was, what I'd bought, where I'd bought it from, complete with the company logo and a professional tone. A bundle of sticks in action. But here's the thing: I'd used an email alias when placing the order, a unique address created for one purpose that forwards to my main inbox. We'll cover these in another video. After the hack, any message sent to that alias was instantly suspect. I remember this visibility made me feel in control. I also no longer live at that shipping address. That's important because anyone connecting that address to Bitcoin ownership might try real-world theft. This experience taught me to use a PO box for sensitive deliveries. They isolate the purpose of the data, shipping, from your experience at home. I soon realized I should treat all my accounts this way, and the relationship map was born. It's a spreadsheet that lists where and how you are known. That allows you to segment your identity data, giving each organization unique, single-use information to create clear boundaries where possible. That way, a breach can't spread through your whole identity, and you can respond with minimal stress. I've since used this tool to help track how people learn about me. For example, if I create a unique email address for my bank and later receive unrelated emails at that account, I know my bank has lost or sold my data. This can even help me start mitigating the problem before the bank is even aware. Right, let's take a look together. In the notes below, you'll find a link to the relationship map. Click on it to open the spreadsheet. Now, this is not about mapping personal friendships or family ties, although that's useful too. Here, a relationship means any ongoing connection with an outside organization that uses a bundle of your sticks to grant access to something. Think your insurer, social media platforms, streaming services, utilities, email, really anywhere you have an account. You can go through your inbox, text messages, bills, bank statements, calendars, even the cards in your wallet, and your browser history if you know how to do that. Just capture everything for now, and it doesn't matter if you can't answer all the questions. Just fill in what you can. I'll show you. So if you look over at my screen now, we've got the relationship map loaded.